you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get some expert perspectives to what is happening in Nigeria. The abductions we've seen, the release of 100 of those school children that we saw in Niger State, which happened on Sunday night and crossing into Monday when they were received yesterday by Governor Bago. And of course, the decision of President Bola Tinubu to move in with troops to Benin Republic. And for example, the implication of that situation in Benin Republic in the Nigerian political scene. I'm being joined by the 2023 YPP presidential candidate, Nigeria and security consultant, Prince Malik Ado-Ibrahim is live for us here in our studio. It's a pleasure having you tonight on the program.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, you've got some military experience, some military training, and you look at it, and how do you describe or assess the Nigerian security situation?
Well, poor. And the biggest problem we have is not that we don't have the right kind of troop motivation. We have very able and capable soldiers. We have an incredible advantage with the Air Force and the air superiority that we have. The enemy doesn't have an Air Force. But we're lacking a lot of simple things that need to get in line before we can, really defeat these issues on the ground. And mostly it's in the intelligence gathering, the lack of that, and the ability for us to be able to do what we did in Benin over this weekend, which for me really indicates that the ISR capabilities of Nigeria are not there, and the fact that we can have precision strikes on a military base also lets us know that somebody was giving intelligence so that the Air Force can really interdict properly and have precision bombing on a military base. So I would assume that the French were giving good advice as to where the targets were, and we delivered exceptional results from a very capable Air Force.
There are those who will say, how is it that Nigeria swiftly move with military intervention into Benin Republic to douse the tension, but has the country been able to do same on its own soil? It's got the stamina to muscle and pull its weight on the West African nation, but when has he been able to do that on civil environment and this kind of insecurity we've seen in the country? See schools that we are having abductions, see communities that have been ravaged by these terrorists and these bandits. Does it mean that we have military capacity for external interference or external activity, and we lack what it takes to hold our own territory tight? Do we lack the intelligence, the technology, or what exactly is wrong? Because there are those experts saying it's a joke, isn't it? When you went to Benin Republic, why didn't you pay that attention at home here?
That's the contradiction that we are facing in the last 48 or so hours. I think the president did the right thing. One of the premium edicts from the Civil War was the concentric circles. The countries around us must remain protected so that it reinforces our democracy. And the president going into Benin, I think there's sort of a parallel, asking for permission from the Senate, and then also knowing that the ECOWAS community allows you to be able to do something like that. Benin is close to the center of Nigeria's economy, next to Lagos. We must make sure that is protected. And I think a lot of us have forgotten that is the closeness in which we, as a country, are to destroying our national economy. If Lagos goes...
So you agree for the president's intervention?
I think it was a very wise and very clever, designed political statement, not just to the other African countries that are looking at us maybe because we're a bit weak in our national defense, but for us to save our country and to save the economy of this country. Lagos needed to be protected, and the rights given to him under the ECOWAS rules allowed him to be able to make that decision very quickly.
So why has it been difficult for our defenses internally? Has been difficult. And I know some of the things that you're doing with countries like Turkey or countries like Saudi Arabia, because I'm one of those who think that maybe we lack the capacity of the eyes and the skies to be able to monitor what is going on. I've spoken with some guys who headed the Nigerian Space Research Agency, who said, this is the capacity of our satellite. This is what we have, this is what we don't have. We have one military, we have one communications, and we are planning. This president has approved 4 more satellites to enable us. So in terms of capacity, eyes in the sky, technology, and digital innovation to be able to monitor our territories, are we that poor for us to be able to hold our ground?
Well, to be very direct and blatant, we don't have anything that anybody has said to you. We don't have it. NIGCOMSAT is dead. It doesn't exist. We're borrowing information.
There's an organization like that. Well, they have another office. They have another office in Canada.
The satellite is deorbited. It's not doing what it could do. And even when it could do what it could and designed to be able to do, it was not utilized properly. Our eyes in the skies are now borrowing from other countries. Look, I run an agency within my company that does LEOSATs, low Earth orbiting satellites. And we're able to see a lot of things on behalf of other countries using imaging, not video. And we lack that capability.
As a country? As a country. But your own company does that on behalf of other nations?
We're using it in Sudan to help. We're using it for deforestation for the environmental agencies. But I'm sure they know we do it because it's not a secret, and we're doing it with the consent of many nations internationally. And we're using constellations that allow us to be able to even have historical data on the environment in the northeast, the northwest, the pipelines of this country. It's all there. The willingness and the ability to do that, it depends on who's the chief at the time. And I think this is why I'm a little bit more optimistic today than I've ever been about the situation with our military. For the first time in a long time, we have a minister that is, presently just disengaged from the military. So he understands the architecture of the military today as the CDS. That has been something we have lacked, and we need to be very careful about. General Musa, as the minister, and a recently disengaged CDS, has a very good insight as to the capabilities of the military. And I think for the first time, we should also allow for the service chiefs to report directly to a minister that has capacity and capability instead of running to the president all the time. If this is done, we have the ability to give General Musa, and we have the ability to give General Musa the tools that he needs. I think not only will we crush the insurgency, we will create the kind of environment that Nigerians could be proud of as far as our military capability and securing this nation. But we have to focus on the fact that 213 million people and less than 300,000 servicemen are not going to do anything.
But what do you make of the president's decisions? More troops to be on the ground. I know, logistically speaking, you may not be able to get new troops from the moment of the order that has been given. It will take another 12 months or so to make it happen for you to have actual men on the ground.
Yes.
And that's a logistical nightmare.
You
have immediate problems.
Absolutely.
But you cannot deploy immediately to cover up. But there are those who say technology will solve this half of the problem.
Absolutely.
Now, the question again, you touched on the capacity of the new minister. The office of the Minister of Defense, you know what people say on the inside, on the outside, is that is more or less an empty shell. The Minister of Defense office doesn't have the capacity, logistical and strategic capacity to be able to control the forces. The service chiefs are on their own. The NSA office coordinates intelligence and all that, but the Minister of Defense office does not really have the balls to be, apologies for using that word, doesn't have that capacity to be able to do just that. And the question is, what could be different on that? Yes, Musa has the experience, he has the present know-how, and he knows what the problems are, but that office, politically speaking, is just there. And those who are practically running things say, look, that office doesn't have the capacity, the expectations Nigerians have towards it.
In the last 10 years, I would say yes. But even before that, one of the most important things that any democracy has when the minister is there is that the ministry is the resource to get all the information about the state of readiness of any military organization and then deploy. Right now, the end user the service chiefs are the ones collecting the budgets to go and buy things. That's never done in any other country around the world. The Minister of Defense knows the architecture that's necessary and then implements and acquires the necessary tools of the trade. We've lacked that over the last 10 years, and before that, the ministry was the one acquiring the assets. And I believe that if the president allows General Musa to have that kind of power, we will see a completely different military architecture in Nigeria, and the state of readiness will change. If you overlay that with technology, using satellites, drone technology, listen, we have the ability to bring in some incredible assets into this country to be able to quell, using thermal imaging, using all sorts of infrared technology to be able to know where these people are.
Is it that those who are running our security don't know some of these technology that you're talking about? Or do we have them at all? I mean, because there are those who will say the reconnaissance activity and how you coordinate all of the military, both air and boots on the ground, has to be in unison.
Yes.
As you and troops are going on the ground, they need support in the skies to be able to be ahead of the terrorists.
But even before that, you need the intel on the ground. You need the intelligence gathering so you know what you're going up against. Look, Sambisa Forest is not it's a massive place, but it backs up into the Lake Chad. We know where this problem is. I don't see why we're not flattening that whole forest and turning it into what during the Desert Storm and what the Israelis did to Hamas. You shock and awe the enemy, turn that place into a desert if you have to, and then send in the ground troops. You completely demoralize the force on the ground, and then you run in.
Well, you
your
have a
ground
border
troops.
problem.
But the border problem, there's no way.
They keep coming in and out.
But if you push them to the extreme, look, the guys that are causing problems, when you see them, they're not Nigerians. They're Nigerians or they're Malians that are getting caught. They know Nigeria is a soft target. $1.4 billion was spent between 2024 and 2025 on ransoms. Billions of dollars. Now, Nigerians aren't doing that. These are people who are calling Fulani, but even the Fulani they speak, I don't think we speak here. These are people who have realized that we're a soft target. We're an easy target to get money from. Somebody kidnaps, another person camps, another person asks for the ransom. And then we know where they are and we cannot. Look, superiority of a nation is the air force that it has. We have incredible tools. They're not well serviced. I'm even discussing with the Air Force at the moment, why aren't we servicing our equipment? We had a jet that crashed in Niger State the other day, I think Saturday or Friday, and then we have the C-130 that held by the Burkina Faso on its way to get ferried. Why aren't we?
You used to fly some.
I used to
fight with some.
I used to fight with some. I understand the state of readiness that means, and I've worked in Sudan built an MRO there so that we can service goods with Safat before the civil war. I understand where the problems might be. I'm not in government. I can only give these sort of inferences. But the clarity of purpose that we must give our Minister of Defense right now, in this very moment, Nigeria is give him the tools, give him the ability. He's actually the boss of most of these service chiefs. Well, of course, he was just recently gone. Yeah. So understanding what they can do is the most important tool we have.
Give me a moment, please. We'll go on a break, but when we come back, we will conclude on our conversation. President Bola Tinubu needs to take some decisive action. He's taking some. How effective are those? And where do we go from here as a people? The year is running out, and some of these bandits need quick money. Well, who will give them? Are we going to put them out or pay them? That's going to be after this break. Join us again, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, on the home stretch of our conversation on national security, the way out for our country, the decision of the government led by President Bola Tinubu, and perhaps what Nigerians should expect as the year is running out. Prince Malik Ado-Ibrahim, a trained British soldier who's flown military aircrafts and trained and also knowledgeable in energy and security strategic activities. Thanks so much indeed for your time tonight. So when I see people who have capacity, who's got some experience in some of these areas. So very exciting, especially when they are in Nigerian skin and we have problems in some of these areas, and you imagine that Nigerians are useful, are being a tool in other countries that are being helping to find solutions to their problems. But we have capable people,
absolutely
knowledgeable people who are solving problems in other parts of the world. But if you are to tell President Bola Tinubu today about a solution to our problems, what would you tell him?
Well, a solution, not the solution. And I think it's to give us capacity, give the military capacity. The chain of command must come from the ministry. Of course, supervising coming from the NSA's office, but definitely this is the first time in a very long time that we've had a capable general at the helm of the military affairs. I'm not sure if having the political tools within the Ministry of Defense are there, but I think that General Musa is not the kind of person that's going to take no for an answer, and if the president gives him the right tools, he will deliver.
If you were the president, would you ask for extraordinary budget beyond maybe a triple of what we often budget for defense this time around?
Look, we've had so much.
It's got a reason. It's got a good pitch to say we are confronted, we are bombarded on all sides.
Yes,
economy is threatened. Our territory integrity is threatened. Give me the money. And I think that would it be a good idea? If we get the money today, we may not be able to get the equipment that we need today.
But if you get the money without planning what you're going to spend the money on, you've just had money thrown at another problem, and we've done that continually. The private sector in warfare internationally helps the military have eyes in the skies. Satellites are doing this. The army doesn't have the ability to launch satellites. That's one critical area. Drone warfare. Listen, we don't need jets. We have drones that have the capacity and the payload to be able to deliver devastation, absolute devastation, anywhere you find it using thermal. Like, even at night, they're not safe. The enemy isn't. I would use the tools. I would bring in private sector. I would make this a coordinated national effort to bring the Nigerian military strength back where it needs to be. There's always this fear that the military, if you power them too much, they will interfere in the civilian work. Listen, if that's going to happen, it's going to happen whether you have people with a pistol or somebody with a drone that's going to go into the villa. The enemy has tools. They're using drones as well. Do we have jamming drones? Do we have electronic warfare to be able to deflect some of these things? I believe that if people like myself and companies that are in Nigeria, the very capable Nigerians that have this power to be able to provide services to the military, then we're going to see a big change. But it's a national effort for Nigeria, about Nigeria, not independent individuals trying to create a problem.
Prince Malik Ado-Ibrahim was a YPP presidential candidate in 2023, a trained British soldier and a warfare pilot.
No, thank you.
Thanks so much indeed.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you.